I'm gonna have to have a moment because I'm, like, fangirling myself. Hello, welcome to another episode of Telly Talk! Yay! Usually on these things, I have a friend with me and the two of us talk about a TV show that we've either hated or loved, but we've both watched, and we kind of give you an idea of what the show is and then review it in our own weird, rambly kind of way. However, I want to talk about a TV show that I think a load of my mutuals would love, and not a single one of them has watched it. So I'm making this in the hope that at least one of the people that I am friends with will watch it and go, you know what, I'm actually going to listen to you now it's in video form and watch this great show. And so today I want to tell you about a show called Timeless. Basically, Timeless is a science fiction TV show about time travel, history, secret government organisations and secret societies. Could it tick any more boxes for me? The answer is no. Basic premise is that a group of scientists at a place called Mason Industries built a time machine and it worked. So they then built an upgrade of the time machine. So they have the prototype and the mothership. There's a guy called Garcia Flynn and he is an ex-NSA agent. I don't know what the NSA is, because we don't have it in England, as far as I'm aware. Maybe we do. I don't know. He gets involved in a secret society called Rittenhouse, and he doesn't like them very much, so he goes to Mason Industries, which are also somehow tied up with this secret society called Rittenhouse, and he steals the mothership and kidnaps one of the scientists. Yeah, no biggie. He then goes back in time to the Brandenburg disaster, which I didn't even know was a thing until I watched this show. It's educational and entertaining. Edutainment. So, because Flynn has now gone back in the past with this scientist that he has kidnapped and this time machine that he has stolen, the guys left at Mason Industries get like the FBI or the CIA, one or the other, involved, and they put together a team that has to go follow Flynn through time and capture him, bring back the scientist, bring back the time machine. So they put together a team which comprises of Rufus, who is one of the scientists that helped build the time machine. He's also the pilot of the ship. A guy called Wyatt, who is an ex-army serviceman with a tragic backstory and beautiful blue eyes, and Lucy, who is a historian. So the three of them get brought in, they get dressed up in kind of the period clothing, and then they get sent off to the Brandenburg disaster, so they find Flynn, kind of eliminate him as a threat, and bring everything back, and hopefully all will go as planned. It doesn't go as planned. At some point during them being at the Brandenburg disaster, they accidentally end up changing history a little bit, and the whole thing doesn't go down the way it's supposed to, and then when they come back, they're all living in like a slightly alternative timeline where Lucy has a fiancé that she didn't have before, her sister no longer exists, and her mum is back. And I think her mum had died, like, previously. So she's now like, I want things back how they were. Wyatt, remember he had a tragic backstory, his wife was murdered. So he is now like, well, Lucy got to change her life. What if we change something and then I come back and my wife still exists? Ooh. As a history nerd, I love this show. As a science nerd, I love this show. As someone that's like really into time travel like kind of stories, I love this show. As a conspiracy theorist, I love this show. There is nothing I don't like about this show. One great thing about it is that every time they time travel, they go into the past, so you get to meet all these historical figures, and it's all American history, which is really interesting for me, because history lessons in this country, we learn very little about anywhere other than the UK, and even then we only learn like bits that make the UK look good, as opposed to we went around the world stealing everything and basically appropriating culture. Whoops, no big deal. It is a big deal. I don't like it. Like, I didn't realise the extent to which we colonised America until I discovered Hamilton. So thank you for educating me, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Also thank you for Hamilton, because it's a genuine joy. This is one of the reasons why I love Timeless so much, is because we get to meet all these great historical figures, and I have like a little fangirl moment because I've heard of these people and because I want to learn more about them, or I know stuff about them and it's exciting. It feels like I'm kind of in on a joke. But also, like, the characters have zero chill. Every time they meet someone from history that they know, they're just like... There's an episode where they go back to late 30s, early 40s, where Nazi scientists are meeting Americans in America, prior to America, like, joining World War II, to help them with, like, bombs and stuff, which I didn't know happened, but apparently it did. And when they're there, they bump into Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond, but also Ian Fleming was genuinely a spy during World War II, and he wrote James Bond, like, based very loosely, but based slightly on his experiences as a member of, like, MI6, and they meet Ian Fleming, and all three of them are just, like, fawning over him because he's, like, this great icon of theirs, and I was sat watching the show, fawning over them, fawning over him. Because I also have zero chill. Another great thing about this show is, like, the cast, because it's quite diverse, and there's a lot of, like, badass, strong women, which I like. But also, because they're going back in time, you get to see how society reacts to them because of who they are. Like, Rufus is African American, and Lucy's obviously a woman. So there are, like, times that they go to where people won't talk to Rufus, or they won't talk to Lucy. They go to NASA with the moon landing. There's like a whole episode about the moon landing, where you meet the characters who appear in the film Hidden Figures. But like in that episode, none of the men take Lucy seriously. They're all like, "Oh, get me a coffee, sweetheart," and she's just like, "Bitch, please, I have a degree, step back." I just find it really fascinating looking at not just going back and seeing all the historical costumes and like the mad japes of like travelling through time to try and find Flynn, but like just how interesting it is to like view the different societies and how they react to these three characters, and also the fact that like Rufus and Lucy spend quite a lot of time in the past being like disrespected or ignored, and then seeing them go back to like modern day where he is like a respected scientist that built a time machine, and Lucy is a respected historian who, like, these missions wouldn't exist if she couldn't go on them. And it's really interesting watching like how society has progressed in some ways and how it hasn't. And also, it makes me smile every single time, whatever time they go to, Wyatt is fine, because he is a white man. And I just feel like society... I don't even need to verbalise the point that I'm making there. I've rambled on about, like, the history bit, but there's also, like, the government agency bit and the secret society bit. So, sort of woven throughout the time travel thing is the fact that Flynn is going back in time to try and find the origin of a secret society called Rittenhouse, which is somehow involved in everything America has ever done. And they're also somehow involved in government agencies, including the ones that set up the time travel program, and like the CIA, the FBI, those people who were also kind of helping out with this whole Flynn situation. And the three main characters, Rufus kind of knows a bit about Rittenhouse because he helped build the time machine. And Flynn knows about Rittenhouse. And Wyatt and Lucy learn about Rittenhouse, like, during their various travels. But the guys at Mason Industries, who are, like, the science people, they kind of don't want them to know too much, so they have each of them spying on each other. Because they're buds and they trust each other, and, like, they're friends and stuff, they know that the head science guy is trying to get them to spy on each other and report back. And they know that one of the other agents that's there is suspicious and is spying on the science guy, but the science guy doesn't know he's being spied on, and he doesn't know that the three main characters know that he's spying on them and that they're spying on each other, and he doesn't know that they know that, and they know that he doesn't. There's also lots of spying and secretive things happening, which is just intriguing as like an added layer to the thing. These three are like buds, and their relationship is beautiful, and there's a character who is like one of the computer sciencey people. Her name is Gia. She and Rufus have got like a thing, and I'm here for it. And then there's Wyatt and Lucy, and I'm starting to ship it quite majorly, because let's face it, I'm eternally alone, and so therefore I don't have anyone to ship myself with, apart from Senpai, of course. So, naturally, every time I watch TV, I have to find two people that I can ship, and I am all aboard the HMS Lyot. I've rambled on about this show for far too long. Let's wrap this shit up. Timeless. Great show. Time travel, secret societies, government organisations, spying, fangirling over historical characters. Misha Collins is going to be in an episode soon. If that ain't enough to sway ya, I don't know what is. You can catch it if you live in the UK. It is on Wednesday nights on E4. And it's on before Supernatural. You can start with the time travel and stay for the supernatural. Who doesn't want to start their day with Wyatt and end it with Dean? There are loads of you that I know IRL that I think would really enjoy this show, so get on it, watch it, and then we'll remake this with a friend when they've watched Timeless. Okay, cool. Bye bye.